All right, I got two sleepers for you for the Wyndham Championship, both in the 6K. Both are going to be like 1% or less owned for the Wyndham, the season's final regular season event. DB here, Tour Junkies. Welcome to the sleepers video. Two guys, 6K, super grimy, sleazy, like nasty plays, very uncomfortable plays. I will say though, if you look at the history over the last couple of years at the Wyndham, there has been some serious 6K players show up and pop and do well. And I think it could happen this week. Sedgefield is one of those places where history tends to be a decent predictive value compared to other PGA Tour events. There are some courses where course history really seems to not necessarily matter. Sedgefield isn't one of those. It seems to matter a little more than the average. It's not everything, but it does seem to matter more. I think guys are just comfortable here. They're comfortable on the Bermuda. They're comfortable with the sight lines off the tee. It's kind of a precision course off the tee. You have to be in the right spots. You have to play from the fairway. The Bermuda rough is difficult. There's water on some holes. There's trees you can get in trouble for. So Sedgefield is one of those places. So the two guys that I've chosen have some experience around Sedgefield. And I think what it asks of the player is going to elevate these guys above the average PGA Tour course. So let's get into it. I'm going to start off with the cheapest play. 6,300 in DFS. 6,300. I'm talking about, I like to call Ben this guy. Ben is the Ryan Armour of the Tour Junkies. Chalk Bomb Ben, if you don't know who he is, who I'm talking about. He kind of swings like him. He's a little guy. He's kind of bald. He's no swing speed at all, just kind of poof, off the driver face. That's the sound it makes. That's Ryan Armour. But Ryan Armour hits 70% of his fairways, which is a lot, okay? Now, his top 20 number, his best top 20 number is 9-1 on DraftKings. Yikes. His best top 40 number is plus 280 on FanDuel. I think Ryan Armour's true upside here is a top 20. I think we could get a top 20 out of Ryan Armour. I do believe that. Do I want to bet that at 9-1? Probably not. But I do think that's his upside for DFS. He's going to be 1% owned. Have him in a few lineups. You're good. I think the top 40 number is very possible. In fact, in his last 5 years here, he's had 4 top 25s in his last 5 years. Missed the cut last year. Before that, 4 consecutive top 25s for Ryan Armour. Obviously loves Sedgefield. I talked about how he hits it off the tee. In 8 attempts at the Wyndham, he has gained strokes off the tee in 6 of 8. That's important. For example, this year, in 2023 alone, he's played in 18 events. He's only gained strokes off the tee in 7 of them. What does that tell you? So it's not even half. Not even at 50% of the time does he gain strokes off the tee on regular PGA Tour events, probably because most of those events set up better for long hitters, and he's just not a long hitter. But here, it can elevate what he can do off the tee because he can probably hit more drivers than other folks, possibly be further down the fairway, and he just knows how to hit fairways. It's just what he does. And everybody kind of plays to similar spots here at Sedgefield. So then he's not as behind from the guys who are hitting it so much further. That's going to elevate things. In his last 8 attempts here, he's also gained strokes in strokes gained approach and putting in 5 of those 8 years, which is also a heck of a lot more than he gains normally in a PGA Tour run-of-the-mill event. I think Ryan Armour's worth a look. It doesn't feel good. It's very unsexy. Doesn't look good in your lineups, but I think it could work. And I truly think, based on his last 5 years here, he feels good here. He's got a good record here, and I think the play suits him. All right, next pick, also a 6K player. Before I get into that, though, I got to remind you about our friends at Front 9 Coffee. The video is sponsored by Front 9 Coffee, has been for over a year and a half now. So support the Tour Junkies. Go to front9coffee.com. The link is in the description. If you use code TJ10, you get 10% off every single order, and you can use it on repeat. So I know a lot of you have ordered it. You've sent us notes saying how good it is, how delicious it is, but you can use the code over and over again. You can get whole bean, you can get ground coffee, you can get K-Cups. It's awesome. And they're a local company right here in Augusta, Georgia that loves golf, loves coffee, loves the Tour Junkies. Help us support Front 9 Coffee, okay? All right, here we go. Last play, $6,800. You're not going to believe this. Okay, $6,800, Doc Redmond. I talked about him on the DFS show a little bit, but I want to dig a little deeper. Especially, I want to tell you his middle name. Are you prepared for this? This is unbelievable. Of all the middle names, like there's some interesting names that, we think we know. Like Tony Finau was Milton, right? Like some people know that, some people don't. Doc Redmond's full name is Doc Hudspeth Redmond. Hudspeth. Doc Hudspeth Redmond. If that isn't the yuppiest name for anyone born in the Carolinas. I don't know what is, but I kind of like it. I kind of dig it. Add in his mustache, add in the 5-panel hat that he likes to rock from time to time. I think it kind of fits him quite well. Doc Hudsmith Redmond, born in Raleigh, North Carolina, played golf at University of Clemson, and very comfy in the Carolinas, quite comfy here at the Wyndham Championship. And the game kind of starting to show a little bit. I talked about on the show how he's coached by our friend Scott Hamilton. We know Scott. You know what I just realized? I totally forgot to share my screen on Ryan Armour and show you some things. Okay, we'll do it for Doc Redmond. I'm rusty. I was at the beach last week, so thus the great tan. What was I talking about? Scott Hamilton. Coach Scotty Ham coaches Redmond, coaches a number of other players who are peaking right now and doing quite well. And he's been working with Doc on a number of things, and I think things are starting to click for Doc. So let's open up. Let's share the screen on Fantasy National. By the way, his top 20 number is plus 650 on FanDuel. That's the best number you can find. His top 40 number is plus 260. Now, I will say when I was looking on FanDuel, let me pull up, or when I was looking at the top 20 number, let me tell you something. On DraftKings has his top 20 at 4-1. But let me tell you who else is at 4-1. So according to DraftKings, so Doc Redmond 4-1 on DraftKings. Also top 20 on DK at 4-1. Dylan Wu, Seabez, Ryan Palmer, Shez Reavie, Matt Naismith, all 4-1. So they're putting Doc Redmond in that same category, which I find interesting. Longer than Doc Redmond, but priced higher than Doc Redmond. KH Lee, Sam Ryder, Nate Lashley, Callum Tarrant. Interesting names on DK. All right, but let me share my screen and show you. Let me open up a few things I want to show you, point out on Doc on Fantasy National. Let's start by looking at some of the proximity buckets. These are the key ranges this week. If you look right here, this is wedges, mid irons. This is exactly what we need this week. And Doc Redmond is best at that. He is no bueno here. Doc, a lot like Ryan Armour, doesn't hit it very far, so finds himself on longer courses, having hit a lot of long irons. That's probably why he sucks. So I like that both long-term and short-term, we're seeing some good numbers right here for Doc Redmond. All right, let's look at the kind of the regular categories here for Doc. So he's coming off a 30th place finish at the 3M, a 9th place finish at the Barbasol. Love to see these tee to green numbers are quite nice. You can also see his best putting surface, Bermuda. North Carolina boy, played at Clemson, loves him some Bermuda. Historically over his career, gains a lot of strokes in easy courses. And actually, we've got a big sample size. I mean, he's been on tour for a while. He's not been great for recently, but been on tour for a few years. 108 logged events. You can tell he enjoys the birdie fest. So I think that's something to note. Also, look at this. 16th at the Valspar. I thought that was interesting. I don't know that Copperhead is a super comparable course to Sedgefield, but it is full of Bermuda. It's a Florida Bermuda course. Some similarities to Greensboro for sure. And you can see that Doc just has all these miscuts and then bang, like does something. And I know the Barbasol is a crappy field, whatever, but same thing here, bang, and then all of a sudden finds something at the Byron Nelson. So that's interesting. Let's look at his Wyndham performance. So Wyndham performance, very boom or bust. 3rd place finish in 2020, 21st last year. And looking at last year, let's go back to 2022's Wyndham. Where are we at? Here we go. So here's 2022 Wyndham. I mean, not that different from right now. Actually, I would argue probably worse. 21st at the Barbasol, he finished 3rd or 9th or whatever. What was it? Yeah, 9th this year. 30th at the Open or 3M Open this year. Miscut there. 57th. I mean, it wasn't like he was doing anything exceptionally well. And then he gets to a place like Sedgefield where he's really comfy and you get a T21. So, and historically, what have we seen of Doc? He's a pretty accurate player off the tee, gain strokes off the tee due to accuracy, and then he's a pretty good putter, long-term, short-term, whatever. It's usually about the irons for Doc. So I think that when he gets to this place where he's comfortable, and both he and Ryan Armour need some FedEx points. They're not going to make the playoffs. We're not talking about that. But we're talking about they need to get closer to that top 125 because at the end of the RSM Classic this year, the guys in the top 125 are going to be securing their PGA Tour card. These guys have some time to make up that ground that they're behind, but they're pretty far behind. And they got to be looking at a place like Sedgefield going, this is kind of one of my courses. This is my jam. I need to take advantage of this. And they're both, they both suit the course. So Doc Redmond, Doc Hudsmith Redmond, what? and Ryan Armour. Those are your two sleepers, 6K, very ugly, very uncomfortable, very queasy plays. But what else do you want from me? I think it's the way to go. Both sub 1% DFS. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about these guys. If you're going to take one of them, which one do you want? If you think I'm crazy for both, if you think there's a different sleeper in the same range, drop your sleeper in the comments. Hit the like button. Check out Front Nine Coffee, and have a great week. May your streams be green. See ya.